I, Alex, male, 34 years old, had always believed in the sanctity of relationships. My partner, Lisa, female, 32 years old, and I had been together for 7 years. We met during an internship program right after college, and our bond was the stuff of legends among our friends. We were the couple others looked up to, the ones who seemed to have it all figured out. Lisa was a vibrant, passionate woman, working as a senior marketing executive at a renowned tech firm. Every year, her company organized an annual retreat, a mix of team-building activities and relaxation at a luxury resort. Due to the nature of her job, she often had to leave for these retreats, and I never thought twice about it. One year, my close friend, Mark, joined her company and was excited about his first retreat. Mark and I had been friends since high school, and he was someone I trusted implicitly. A few days before the retreat, we met up for drinks, and he mentioned how thrilled he was to finally be a part of the famous company getaway. We joked about him being my inside man, keeping an eye on Lisa, and ensuring she didn't have too much fun without me. The retreat was a 3-day event. On the second day, I received a call from Mark. His voice was hesitant, a tone I wasn't familiar with. He told me he had seen Lisa spending a lot of time with her boss, Liam. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was work-related. But Mark mentioned they seemed a bit too close, often disappearing for hours and returning with a certain shared secrecy. Curiosity got the better of me. I decided to surprise Lisa by showing up at the resort the next day. I coordinated with Mark, and he kept me updated on their whereabouts. As I approached the resort's private beach, I saw them. Lisa and Liam were sitting close, their hands intertwined, sharing a moment that was intimate and personal. The sight was like a punch to the gut. I approached them, trying to keep my composure. Lisa's face turned pale, and Liam looked equally shocked. Without causing a scene, I asked Lisa to join me for a walk. The air was thick with tension as we walked in silence. Finally, Lisa spoke. She emphasized that nothing physical had happened, but admitted they had developed deep emotional connections. The retreat ended, and so did our relationship. The trust was broken, and while there was no physical infidelity, the emotional betrayal was just as painful. Months passed. Lisa moved out, and we both tried to heal. Our friends were shocked, and Mark was riddled with guilt for being the bearer of bad news. But I was grateful. It was better to know the truth than to live in ignorance. Weeks turned into months, and the pain began to subside, replaced by a numb acceptance. I threw myself into work and reconnected with old hobbies to fill the void. One evening, while cleaning out a shared storage unit, I stumbled upon a box of Lisa's old journals and letters. Curiosity, or perhaps a need for closure, compelled me to take a peek. Flipping through the pages, I discovered entries that dated back to our early days together. Amidst the fond memories and shared dreams, there were hints of doubts and insecurities Lisa had never voiced. One entry in particular caught my attention. It was from a time when we had briefly broken up during our 3rd year together. Lisa wrote about meeting someone during that period, someone she felt a deep connection with, but chose not to pursue because of our reconciliation. The name she mentioned, Liam. The realization hit me hard. Their bond wasn't just a recent development. It had roots that went back years. The emotional connection they shared during the retreat wasn't just a fleeting moment. It was a rekindling of past emotions. I felt a mix of emotions: anger, betrayal, sadness, and confusion. Was our entire relationship a lie? Did she always have feelings for Liam? Why did she never mention this before? I reached out to Mark, who'd been my pillar of support throughout this ordeal. Over a drink, I shared my discovery. Mark, ever the voice of reason, suggested that perhaps Lisa herself hadn't fully understood her feelings for Liam until they reconnected at the retreat. He reminded me that relationships are complex, and people often grapple with emotions they don't fully understand. But now, I'm at a crossroads. Part of me wants to confront Lisa, to seek answers and perhaps find a semblance of closure. Another part wonders if it's better to leave the past behind and move forward. A user said, "Dude, that's rough. Remember, sometimes the past should remain buried. If you're looking for closure, confronting her might help. But if you're looking to move on, maybe it's best to let it go." The op replied, "I appreciate the advice. It's just so hard to decide. Do I dig deeper and risk opening old wounds, or do I try to find peace with the unknown? What would you do in thy shoes?" Relationships are never black and white. They're a complex tapestry of emotions, decisions, and moments that define us. Alex's story has shown us that sometimes emotional bonds can be as strong, if not stronger, than physical ones. The pain of betrayal, whether emotional or physical, leaves scars that are hard to heal. But Alex's story isn't the only tale of trust being tested. As we dive into our next narrative, we'll explore the shock of unexpected betrayal and the aftermath that follows. Can trust ever be rebuilt after it shatters in the most unexpected places? Let's find out. They're the puzzle. Those were Jenna's shoes. A whirlwind of emotions engulfed me. Anger, betrayal, shock. Without a second thought, I turned on my heels and headed straight to the bar. I asked the bartender to split our check, paid for my drinks, and without waiting for Jenna, I left Murphy's. I drove around aimlessly for a bit, trying to process what had just happened. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, ordering a black coffee and just staring into it, the bitter taste matching my mood. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I crashed at my buddy Mike's place. He's the kind of friend who doesn't ask questions when you show up at 2. He just handed me a beer and we played video games till dawn. The next day, my phone was blowing up. Jenna had texted a dozen times, and there were a few missed calls. She said she was sorry, that it was a mistake, that she was drunk. But honestly, it all just sounded like noise to me. I took a few days off work. Couldn't face my coworker or the office gossip that was sure to follow. Mike and I hung out, binge-watching shows and ordering way too much takeout. It was a good distraction. A week later, I finally met up with Jenna. We sat in a park and she cried a lot. She said it meant nothing, that she regretted it instantly. I just felt numb. I told her I needed space to think. Reddit. Here's where I'm at. I'm hurt and confused. Part of me thinks maybe it was just a one-time mistake. But another part wonders if I can ever trust her again. What would you do? Has anyone been through something similar? Any advice would be appreciated. This story is over. What do you think about the story? What's your tips? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have any similar experiences or stories to share, we'd love to hear them. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more deep dives into the intriguing world of human experiences. Stay